Hey, everybody, welcome to our Thriving Lives podcast, to our weekly Zoom call. Tonight's topic, we are going to be talking about the pillows of
No,
pillows.
hi, how are you? We're just going right to the
No, we're
topic.
we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. But I was just saying, our topic of the night, though, is going to be our pillars of our life. You know, the things that we put priorities into, because and put our energy and intentions into, because where we put our energy at is what's going to obviously get focused on. Essentially, we have to be
Where
intentional.
focus goes, energy flows.
100%. Thank you for the
You're
Dr.
welcome.
Seuss rhyme. That's perfect. I think I read that in a book once.
I found a quote of it on Pinterest a while ago when I made like my little like cute phone background of like all these affirmations. I've
Nice.
since changed it,
Yeah.
but that was a good one.
It's definitely a good reminder. Where focus goes, energy flows. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I love it. Which
Mhm.
is 100% true. And that could be taken good or bad. So we'll kind of dive into that exact thing. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
just change the name of it to exactly what you just said. Make that the
Yeah.
title. I
It was a
love
good one. And that got me through a lot after like a breakup starting therapy. I had to really like change my mind
well,
where to put my focus to where
that's
my energy was
applicable.
flowing.
Yeah, that's applicable in every area of life.
Yeah.
You can apply that exact same thing to everywhere. But yeah, so that's going to be kind of our topic of the night. We also have another little announcement to make before we get into that, though. Renee, how was your last 2 weeks? Because you missed last week.
I know. Last week was wild. We had a lot of stuff going on with Pilates. Um, and then this week's been pretty smooth sailing. I was in a weird like funk the first probably like since last weekend until yesterday, just like down, depressed, not myself. But yesterday it got better. So that was good at work. I had a better day. And then today, same thing. So that's good to not feel as down and like I'm very critical and very hard on myself. Um, so I had some stressful things go on last week. So I feel like I'm kind of like my focus is going to different places. So my energy is going to different places.
That was gonna be my next question with it
Yeah.
is taking the topic of the night is,
Hmm.
were you able to kind of, without divulging any information you don't want to indulge with it or divulge, um where was your energy at? You know what I mean? Like where was your
Yeah.
focus at that your energy flowed into?
Yeah. And my focus was very much so on overthinking every little tiny thing. Um, which then I just spiral and then I start to think about 5,000 other things that will spike my depression or spike my anxiety.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of nice yesterday. It's just like being distracted at work,
Mhm.
and laughing and having a good time with my coworkers. I think that really helped. So that was cool, able to like kind of pull me out of it for a little bit. And then once I'm pulled out of it a little bit, I can pull myself out of it more. Um, so yeah, that was good.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Um,
Old before, like, health and fitness has become
Free
more of a
therapy,
priority.
free health
Yeah.
fitness. Yeah.
How long do you think you would have been in that
Mm.
in that mental state?
Yeah, so that's something really cool. That's what I think about often. Like I write that in my little therapy journal all the time too. It's like things right now that I like tend to overthink and like beat myself up over would have lasted like weeks and weeks and weeks and not as heavy. I feel like now sometimes they last longer because I am very introspective, which I'll get into later, but um it is cool now. I realize like what like I can pinpoint, okay, I'm feeling like this because this is how I feel and this is what caused it. And it's a lot cooler now because I can pull myself out of it um a lot faster. So even if it was 5 days that I was in it, at least it wasn't like 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Or it wasn't just like snowballing to like bad habits.
100%.
So I do pull myself out of it faster, but I still I took this like enneagram test today and my result was like number one, the perfectionist. And I was like, yeah, yeah, that adds up.
Hmm.
Very like black and white thinker.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, yeah, okay, that is me. That is indeed me. Um, so yeah, very much overthinker. And so it's cool when I can realize that I'm not overthinking as long.
Exactly, exactly. And that's one of those things where I think everybody at any point in their journey, but especially when it comes to health and fitness, is yeah, you might have struggled this week, or yeah, you might have fallen off in one way, shape, or form. Maybe you totally fell off this week. But you got back on track after that. So then what it comes down to is, instead of beating yourself up about falling off, like, we're all gonna have down days mentally, physically, with our habits, whatever the case is, we're all gonna have those slip ups and those days off. But when we think about where we're used to be, the way that I'll kind of talk about it is like before thriving lives, how long would you fall off for? How
Hmm.
how deep did you kind of fall off the tracks with it? Did you start back down at the very, very bottom of that mountain? You know what I mean? And then how long did you stay down there before you got back on track? And one of those things that we'll see a lot is people are reducing the amount of time that they're falling off for. They're reducing the damage done during that time off, if that makes sense. If we just talk about from like a weight standpoint, because that's easy to kind of pinpoint. Oh, I maintain weight or whatever the case is. But then how long it took us to get back on track. And so if we're seeing progress there, that's one of the biggest things we can really see progress with is that you're falling off fewer times. And when you do fall off, they're few and farther between, and there's shorter durations than longer. And if you can recognize those things, then you can recognize that you're making a lot of progress in other ways other than just the physical progress or whatever the other case is, whatever your other goals are. So yeah, that's awesome, Renee.
Yeah.
I love
The
it.
cool thing is like I don't fall off on my habits either. It's
Yeah.
more so like mental,
Yeah.
which is even sometimes it's harder because like I like went to the gym and I'm like, okay, I still don't feel better. Like
Yeah.
these things that are supposed to pull me out of it don't. But then you kind of realize like, okay, well, at least I'm trying to get better and um
You can at least feel good about
I
that.
know I have like an outlet. I know it's not gonna last forever.
Yeah. And you know that there is going to be a day where, like today, where you feel better. And you could also think back on last week and be like, fuck, like I didn't work out at all last week during it. You know what I mean? And reality of it, you still were able to tread water. You're able to push through when you didn't want to. And whether it helps you or not during that time, again, you're not just totally falling off. So it makes it way easier to continue because you've continued that continuity over the past couple of weeks, even though
Hmm.
it was difficult too, versus that constant stopping and having to restart. The person who feels like they're always starting over, that's defeating, and that's very tiresome to always feel like you're just starting back over. You know what I mean? So in your situation, yeah, you were in a hole mentally with it, but you're not starting over with all your habits and choices and
No, yeah.
actions and shit like that, which only compounds the problem. You know what I mean? Because you could
Yeah.
still
Oh yeah.
yeah, because you could still be dealing with that same depressive state of the past couple of weeks, but also be like, I have all these habits now that I have to rebuild as well, and then it just becomes like this giant.
Hmm.
I got to climb back up, and that only makes depression, anxiety way harder. So it's always better to whatever you can maintain some continuity with and some momentum with, scratch and claw to maintain whatever that is.
I think it's cool too. Having someone you can like lean on. Like this last weekend, I just like for some reason, well, not for some reason, I know why I was stressed. So I just did not have an appetite. And it was like the end of the night. And I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go to bed. And my dad's like, you didn't have dinner. I'm like, yeah, I know. He's like, make your protein shake. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to. Like, I don't feel like it. He's like, Renee, put it in the blender, make your protein shake. I'm like, I don't really want to do the dishes. He's like, do it. Just fucking do it. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like, so like we're both standing in the kitchen.
Awesome.
I'm like, all right, you're right. I needed to eat because I'm not gonna like that's gonna hurt me more if I don't eat.
Yeah,
So it's cool. I will miss that when I move out.
definitely.
So fun things like that when you can like lean on someone else that knows your goals.
Yeah.
So I think especially for like our clients to really lean on A, coaches, and B, your spouse. If they know your goals, they can kind of help you stay on track when you can't
Uh,
really pull yourself out of it.
That's
Um,
exactly what I was going to say. Is
yeah.
is your whoever you spend a lot of time with. So it could be your spouse, could be your kids, it could be your coworkers. Whoever you spend a lot of time with, communicating your goals and asking for maybe even their help a little bit with holding you accountable. You know what I mean? Because they might be scared to hold you accountable because they don't want to feel like they're overstepping or whatever. But if you ask them, say, hey, I really care about this. There's gonna be days where I might feel down with it, and so just kind of eliciting some of that help, it helps you. You know what I mean? And that person might even make some change on their own, which then facilitate your healthy change and stuff like that. So that's awesome that your dad held you accountable to that.
Yeah.
And then, that night you can be like, I'm happy I did that. Like that was a good thing. I didn't want
Yeah.
to do, but
Hmm.
I'm happy that I made that choice, and I'm happy that he was able to help you make that choice. That's
Yeah.
great.
How are you?
Awesome. Awesome.
My 10-minute answer, and I'm glad you're awesome.
You're
That's
you're
great.
you're good. Well, I'm always gonna say I'm awesome, whether I had a tough week or not. But we really dive into it. It was honestly a pretty solid week. Lots of good family time. I need to start just writing down what I do each day because I forget at this point. It just feels like the whole last week is kind of a whirlwind of it. But yeah, no, last 7 days were pretty good. Training's been going pretty good. I'm excited. This week, on Friday, we're not linking up to work together. I'm going golfing with some buddies on Friday afternoon, so I'm looking forward to that. Haven't gotten to do that for a little bit with a group of friends, other than just golfing a little bit on my own. But really, outside of that, though, all is well. All's going pretty strong on our end. Lola's doing better every day. She's actually fully laughing now. She's seeming to get ticklish, like on her feet and her neck and stuff. So getting her laugh, which is definitely adorable. She's just flip-flopping around like little pancakes now. She's has no problem rolling around, like rolling from her back to her stomach now. She doesn't want to roll from her stomach to her back, even though that was the first thing that she could do. I think she just likes being on her stomach a lot more. And she's just doing it like a full-on Superman. So last night I was like, you know what? For as long as she does a Superman, I'm gonna do the same thing. And damn, like she's strong. Like I was exhausted. Like my lower back was tight um
That's
from
cute.
doing it for so long. But yes, we did that, had a good time. So yeah, I'm just blessed to get to hang out with her as much as I do. But anyway, though, first and foremost, before we kind of dive into the topic, Renee and I have been kind of chatting about this for the past couple months, but so something we're going to start. We're going to give it a go for April and see how it goes. I'm really looking forward to it though. So as part of your guys' Thriving Lives Fitness training app, we can set up challenges on there. So what we've decided to do is set up a challenge on there where what we
Group
can do is
challenge.
do what?
A group challenge.
Yes, a group challenge, not individual. There's going to be a leaderboard and everything with it. You're going to be able to earn points, and the top three point getters at the end of April, which we'll kind of dive into a little bit, we'll earn some prizes with it. But so essentially, what it looks like, we're going to start with some easy challenges with it. So if you decide you want to partake in the challenge, you don't have to. And we'll make a post about this in the group as well. And see, I don't know if we can just post a link for people to join it, or if I think I have to manually add each and every client with it, but that's no problem. All you got to do is just let us know if you want to be added into it. But essentially what we'll do is we'll go on to your profile and we will add 2 habits. So our habits that we are tracking and you're going to earn points for completing on every single day that you complete them is number 1, it's going to be water intake. Okay. So for females, that water intake number is going to be 90 ounces. For males, it's going to be 120 ounces. Okay. And so every day that you complete your water intake goal, so you might knock that out by afternoon, it might be evening, whatever the case is, but you have to actually go onto the app every single day to check mark it that you did complete that water intake goal. So again, 90 ounces for females and 120 ounces for males. The other habit that you're going to earn points for is getting 8,000 steps a day in. So fortunately, with April coming around, like it's warmer more times than it's not going to be right now. Hopefully, you have access inside that you can do it as well, whether that's in the gym or walking pad, or again, just going outside and bundle up if you have to. But so for every day that you complete 8,000 steps, obviously you go in at the end of the day, or once you reach that checkpoint, and you're going to log it. Now all you got to do is just click, and you'll see like a little circle icon on your homepage if you decide to join this challenge. And so all you do is just click that circle, and that says you did it for the day. Now, the biggest piece of this is obviously we're using the honor system. We have no way of tracking your actual water intake. We have no way of tracking your actual steps. This is just supposed to be a fun challenge for the whole community, whoever wants to partake in it. But I think it'll be cool if you're really intentional for the entire month of April on getting those steps in and getting that water intake in, and letting those 2 things, and they might already be habits in your life. They might be automatic, which, hey, those are just easy points you're going to get in there. Or maybe they're difficult and you need to be really intentional about it. The key with this is obviously number 1, first and foremost, is just be honest with it, obviously. But also be intentional with that water intake, be intentional with getting those steps in, and we'll see how month one goes, and then we'll adjust and see what we want to do for the month of May. Now this is only gonna be a 28-day challenge. So April has, what'd you say, Renee, 30 days?
30 days.
So this is going to start on April 1st, so on Monday morning at midnight, and it's going to go all the way until 11:59 on Sunday, April 28th. Okay, so you're going to have 28 days to complete this. Now, in the event that there's a tie or something of that nature, we will implement some sort of a tiebreaker of some sort. We will cross that bridge once we get there. But either way, so there will be a leaderboard though where you can see the top 1, 2, and 3 point getters every day just by clicking on that little challenge button there, which you'll be able to see on your app once we add you to that challenge. Renee, is there anything in terms
Yeah,
of
the prizes we're gonna do.
course?
The first place winner will have their first pick if they want to pick was it 100 pound or not?
No,
Not
100
100
pounds.
pound.
No. So the three things you can choose
100. Okay, go for it.
are, one of them is going to be a 5 pound bag of protein from My Protein. It's a protein company that I like using. It's literally called
100 servings.
myprotein.com. And it's about 100 servings. It's 100 servings and 5 pound bag of protein. So you just let me know which flavor, things of that nature. And then at the end of the challenge, if you like I said, first, second, and third get to pick their prizes in that order. So first gets to pick first, second gets to pick second, third gets stuck with whatever is left over, which will still be a good thing, even though I just say get stuck with it. So
Yeah.
5 pound bag of protein for My Protein. Um, Greens from One Up Nutrition, which is Renee's favorite. And then the third prize on there is going to be Calm Magnesium, which I put on almost all my clients' plans with that. I think it's about $30 or so online on Amazon. So those will be the top three winners right there. So essentially, again, first place person will get to choose first. And then whatever's left over, second gets to choose, and whatever's left over goes to third place person. And then essentially we will pay for that and we will have it shipped to your house. So we'll just make sure that we have your address before we send it. But that's about it though. And so we'll probably do a little, leaderboard shout out every Wednesday for the month of April until we announce that winner. I think that's about it though for that challenge, right, Renee?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, cool. Cool. So, like I said, if you are interested in that, you want to be a part of the challenge, I assume most people will be. Then at that point, we will add you to the thing, to the challenge itself on the training app, and then we will go in there and create habits as well. Ideally, let us know this before Sunday, for sure before Sunday. That way, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, ideally let us know within your check-ins. I understand that not everybody will be hearing this by then, and we will post this in the group as well. But anyway, that's the challenge that we're talking about. So topic of tonight though is we were talking about our pillars. The things that really kind of make us who we are in terms of what we focus on, what we prioritize. So there's no magic number to this. You could have 3 pillars, you could have 5 pillars, you could have 10 pillars. Most likely you don't have 10 pillars because none of us have that much time or energy in the day with it. But I'll start first. So I really have 3 main pillars. Number one, it's going to be family, especially with Lola now. One of the things that I'm prioritizing every week, and I'm thinking about this on Sundays, usually when I'm talking with Nicole about how our last week went and what this coming week is going to look like. And it's when am I going to be getting in quality time with my family? Mainly with Nicole, Lola, and Boss, our dog, but then obviously outside family as well, making sure that we're fitting in time with our parents, each individual parent. And I'll even throw, friends into that mix as well, making sure that we're getting to see our friends on a consistent basis as well. But again, if we're not being intentional with this, we're going to miss out on time together as a family. We're going to miss out on time, just Nicole and I'm going to miss out on time with the rest of our family and things of that nature. So we have to be really, really intentional about, hey, when was the last time we saw our parents and how are we going to fit them in here soon? We're going to get breakfast with them. We're going to have them over. How are they going to get to see Lola? Things of that nature. So we have to be really intentional about making sure we get that family time in. We have some other kind of automatics, like in the morning time is usually spent with again, Nicole waking up Lola and them kind of playing in the nursery, and then me coming down to get to work. But then at nighttime, we have a lot of quality time together. And obviously I'm spending most days with Lola as well. But so that's obviously one of my biggest pillars. My second one is obviously going to be, health. When am I going to be getting workouts in that week? How am I going to be getting my steps in? And so one of those things with that is I was like, it's hard now to get out on consistent daily walks like I used to with Boss, because now I have Lola to kind of fit into that. And if it's not so nice outside, I can't really get outside and get those walks in, which is the reason why I got the walking pad here at the house and even my stationary bike behind me, which I haven't used as much as like getting the walking pad. But either way, I have those options. But also I'm thinking about when am I going to be getting in my workouts this week? Like we talked about a few weeks ago, if we say, I'm going to work out 3 times this week, within our check-ins, but we're not being intentional and specific about when we're going to do that and how we're going to make it happen, that's probably not going to happen. And so being intentional about when am I going to be able to get those workouts in? What does the week look like that's really going to allow for that? Knowing that I was going to be going and golfing on Friday, I had to kind of plan out my workouts kind of around that. So number one, I can have fun and not be overly tight when I go to play golf, but also that's going to be a busy day between check-ins and getting out there and playing 18 holes. So when am I going to be getting my my workouts in and stuff like that for the week? Health is also not just fitness, but it's meal prep, it's getting to sleep and things of that nature. Now, a lot of those things are already habits for me, but still, I have to be intentional about getting to the grocery store, having the right food prepped. I do a lot of meal prep for Nicole as well, so I have to make sure that, is that done and taken care of. My other pillar is obviously thriving lives. This is my passion. I'm very, very fortunate for my career to be something I'm so passionate in. But this takes up a ton of my time, which I wouldn't have it any other way. I absolutely love getting to work with every single client, everybody that decides to allow Thriving Lives to be a part of their life. I don't take that for granted. I don't take it lightly at all. And, I'm always striving to improve upon Thriving Lives, in any way, every way that I possibly can. And bringing Renee into the team, into the family was obviously a big step in that right direction in terms of improving what we're offering here. But so those are really my big three pillars. Those are the things I give the majority of my energy into. And then obviously I fit in other things. I have other fun things. I like golfing, but I don't prioritize that. I like video games, but I don't prioritize that. I love movie days and getting to binge watch Netflix and watch Suits and all that stuff. I know Renee's been
I
slacking
haven't done it
on
in a
the
long
Suits
time.
game. I know, but all those things, all that stuff is amazing. But that doesn't take precedence over my other three pillars. I'm only giving those things energy if everything else is attended to. And that was something I learned early on in life was, I'm not going to sit down and play video games until my homework was done. I'm not going to go outside and play until I have that done. I'm not going to prioritize going out and playing with friends if I've got baseball practice after school, stuff of that nature. So it just came down to whatever you are making time for and you're being really intentional with is obviously going to get your most energy. So making sure you're picking those things wisely. Renee, what are
My
your
pillars.
what are your pillars?
So I would say my first pillar is self growth. I constantly want to work on myself, constantly want to be the most healed version of myself. Very introspective, very much so. Self growth is probably number one. I always make time for reflecting and how I can grow and how I can do better. Um, Second one is fitness. That just makes me feel good, so I prioritize that. And it looks different some weeks. My ideal schedule is different than what's been happening lately, which is fine. I still am getting a lot of movement in. It's just, although lifting is my favorite way, I'm adding in different ways. And so fitness is that second pillar. Um, my third one, and I guess kind of two go together here, are gut health and health in general. Um, I will not sacrifice my eating habits or my food. I will not eat gluten. I will not eat foods that I know are going to make me feel terrible. Um, of course, I eat like gluten-free cookies and things like that because I can, but gut health is a huge thing for me. Just because I feel better doing that. And then
That allows
my
you to
next,
thrive in all your other areas, right?
yes. If my gut health is out of whack, if I were to go upstairs and eat a piece of bread right now, I guarantee none of these other things will be happening
Yep.
because I physically, my body will not allow it to happen. I will be miserable. So without that pillar, the other ones are knocked over. Um, and then my other one is back and forth on how to say this, but me putting in learning and knowledge towards my passions. So I put in a lot of time and effort to learn more about fitness and health to be able to cultivate that passion, which ties in Thriving Lives Fitness and my clients. And um, it's kind of a hard one to word, but
I know what you mean,
like
though.
I am constantly like, I got my personal trainer certificate, and then I wanted to learn more about birth control and hormones, and then nutrition, and then I added in Pilates. It's just like I constantly want to learn and better and be more well-rounded in that subject.
Yep.
Constantly want to learn how to be a better coach, how to better um handle aspects on my clients and things like that.
I was going to
Um,
say that all that self growth, while it's for yourself and for your own health benefits and things of that nature, it also comes down to wanting to make a stronger, deeper impact on those around you, those that hire you,
mhm.
things of that nature. Um, you're a servant in that way, which is definitely a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, um,
I would say those are two different ones. So like
it
my
is. Yeah.
mental health or my self growth is definitely different than
Oh yeah.
I guess in say like they connect together. Yeah.
It definitely, all those things are still full circle back to making you the best
Yes.
coach that you can. Um,
Yes.
but that's
I
all.
definitely my number one pillar is being the best person I can be.
I think that really all of our pillars though, they should feed one another. You know what I mean? They should have,
Yeah.
if you think about it from like a Venn diagram, like they should all have some interlocking, circles on there or some crossover because, you know, I don't know. I just that comes back to, I think one of the biggest things with Thriving Lives is and if I had to pick one word, I think it would be balance. Um,
Yeah. Oh my God, that's what I was gonna say.
Balance, yeah. Which is
Perfect.
good because obviously the all the things that we talk about on these Zoom calls with our check-ins, all that stuff comes down to balance.
Hmm.
You know,
If you put all of your time and energy into thriving life fitness and no energy into your family,
yeah.
you wouldn't be who you are.
I'd have
And
a
vice
I
versa. If
might
you
have
put
a
all your
killer.
energy in your family,
Yeah.
thriving life fitness wouldn't be what it is.
Exactly, exactly. So it just comes down to finding that balance, and also just like we said earlier, with recognizing when we fall off track, it's recognizing when you fall out of balance, and having a spouse to kind of check you. Which there's been times over the last 8 years of running Thriving Lives where she kind of had to check me that, hey, I respect and I understand why you're working so much, but also like have balance with this, or times of like losing clients. We don't really talk about that on here very much, but like it's tough when a
It's
client
hard.
leaves, especially when a client leaves because they gave up on their own journey with this or whatever the case is. Or it might have even been a situation where, shit, we got stuck and didn't really know what other lever to pull on. And that comes back to our own education and investing in that so that which we're both doing in our own ways at the moment, investing in more and more education for ourselves so we can help clients get unstuck. And so we're not running into those problems with it. But still, that's probably been one of the things that Nicole's seeing me kind of out of whack at as much as anything. And that's from a business standpoint. That's also from just a caring about that particular client and feeling like, I didn't get a chance to help them because they weren't allowing it, they weren't communicating, or whatever the case was. Um, so that's definitely hard as well. But again, like having her has helped me obviously find out when I'm out of balance, but it's important to be, introspective as well and recognize that shit as well. Um, and sometimes, having a wife like Nicole, she can recognize me getting out of balance well before I was ever going to recognize it.
Yeah.
I'll recognize it, but it might take me a couple days or a couple weeks to really recognize the shit that she's already seeing kind of bubble up, which I
You'll
appreciate.
blink wrong and Nicole will be like, yep, something's
Yeah,
off.
yeah. I mean,
Something
half
is
the
off.
time, if there's so many different times, I mean, all the time where I don't even recognize that I'm being any other kind of way. I don't even realize my head is kind of somewhere else. And she can recognize that right away. And she's like, well, let's talk about it. I'm like, I literally don't even know what the fuck to say right now because I don't even know how I feel. Give me a minute. Give me a couple hours at least to kind of really figure out what it is that is kind of bothering me. But no, so I mean that's very helpful. Not everybody has that, obviously. But again, that just comes back to being introspective and being super reflective and understanding when you're in balance and out of balance. Um, Now, obviously, if my pillar was maybe not even a pillar, but if I did like a lifestyle audit, which we did this before the new year was over, where are we spending a lot of energy? And like I can use, I don't even know if this is the best application for it because I don't know how many TLFers are doing this, but like if I was spending 3 hours a day playing PlayStation, that's not a good use of my time. It's not bad from time to time. There are definitely days where I will do that every now and then because it's fun. It's a way to kind of check out. But again, only after my other shit is handled, or only if I just really need to escape for a little bit. That might be kind of how I handle that. But that's not a priority. That's not taking up. That's not taking away from family time. That's not taking away from business. That's not taking away from my health. I'm only doing that when things, and that's just one easy little example. It could be your example could be so many other things with it. But so hopefully, as you guys are listening to this, you're thinking about what are those pillars? What are the things you are really prioritize giving a lot of energy to? And I can think of one client in particular that we've had multiple conversations about this for months, about how they are putting so much energy into their business, and their business is doing well, but they're putting a ridiculous amount of energy into their business and none into their health. The extent of them putting it into the health is having these conversations with me, which that's the one thing I was going to come back to, is that the reason why you're eventually going to find balance and you're eventually going to find kind of what you need out of all this is because you continue to communicate. Even though you know that this is not going to be an easy conversation for us to have, you're continuously having that conversation. And that's way more than what most people do, because most people, after one or two of those conversations, they're like, I'm not going to do this shit anyway, and they stop having that conversation. But he cares enough to have those uncomfortable conversations. But kind of point is, though, I mean, dude's putting in 16-hour work days to grow this business, which is amazing. But I'm like, you know, other things are being sacrificed to get there. And
That's it. That's something I can definitely relate to, and I've had to adjust for sure.
yeah,
And I think having other people like that, you used to do it, you went through it.
yeah.
So
But,
things like
but
that,
even
it's
even
easy to
then,
relate to
though,
other people and have someone help you like get in check of,
yes,
okay, even if all this energy is going towards it, it still relies on your priorities. Like, even though I am working long days, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. most days, I still make time for what my other pillars are. And
exactly.
so that's the difference of
It
where
is.
your priorities lie.
It is. It is. It is. In this situation, like you said, I before this last year, I spent the last 7 years, working two full-time jobs essentially. I was getting to work a couple hours early to work on Thriving Lives, and I was doing it in between. I was doing my lunch break as I'm just eating my meal and whatnot, and then I'm doing it for hours after work. And don't get me wrong, you have to make some sacrifices to get wherever you're going to go, whatever that case is, whether that is business, or maybe you want to sacrifice, for a sport, or in my case, like bodybuilding and things of that nature, like some things that are really, really worth it, you're going to have to make sacrifices for in order to get to them. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that's even bad in business, but again, like, if you're putting all this energy into it, let's say for the next decade to grow this business, but your health is continuously rapidly deteriorating, what was it all for at the end of the day? Because ultimately we're working for, that person might be working for an ego thing. It could be for the financial benefit. It could be for that eventual time benefit that they're going to have, that, hey, once I get this built how I want it to be, I can kind of back off, which is true. But again, if you do that for the next 10 to 20 years, and that's at least for an entrepreneur that he's running his own thing. I see plenty of people that do this for just a job that's doing it for somebody else, essentially. You know what I mean? You're just working just in somebody else's business, and they're killing themselves all the time with this, and they're sacrificing their health for decades. And so that by the end of the day, at the end of that career, it's like, yeah, I got my pension, I got my retirement, or whatever the case is, but I have absolutely no health anymore.
You
I
can have that giant pillar of your job, but you also have to have an equal pillar next to it of
exactly.
your health. And if you don't, then like, yeah, you're gonna have to put in extra effort and make extra time for that pillar to be in that same rank. But if not, you're eventually going to sacrifice that tall pillar of work because you're not gonna be able to give more to it.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, like in this dude's situation, it's not a matter of, hey, every day I need you to go work out. Every day I need you to work, 2 or 3 hours less so you can give energy to all these other things. It's just start working towards a better balance. Because right now you're doing all and none when it comes to work versus, your health. So let's find ways that we can put things into place to still give more energy into your health. Whether
And
that's,
you'll be better off when you add in other things for yourself. Like,
of
you'll be able
course.
to give more to work when you can
And
take that
so
hour on the treadmill to reset your mind, or that
exactly.
hour with your family, or that's going to help recharge you,
And normally you're
instead
doing
of
it
constantly draining you.
normally you're trying to work that hard for that money, whatever the case is, to benefit your family. But I'm sure if you ask your family's opinion, they would say,
Mhm.
I'd rather have a little more time with you. I'd rather have your health and have you for an extra 20 years of your life versus, oh, you worked yourself to death. Thanks for the money once you passed, but I never got to
Mhm.
see, or I lost 20 years with you because you sacrifice your health for whatever that case is. But on the flip side, like you actually just kind of sparked that, though. I had another client where, for months and months and months, it was kind of fighting that same battle. continue to prioritize work, didn't do the other things when it came to health, or did for a couple days, and then it was a couple weeks falling off of it. But once he really crushed it for, a month or so straight, at the end of that, he made a ton of physical progress. Got to see that he could merge and find balance between the two things. And I asked him, I was like, did your business crumble? Like that was what you were always scared of, taking time away to get to the gym or to bust a walking pad out or to meal prep, whatever the case is. I was like, so this last month, when you invested more energy into those things, more time into those things, did your business crumble? And he said, no, actually, we had a record month. I'm like, okay. So it might not necessarily be correlated, but we know it didn't crumble when you gave a little bit more time and energy into your own health. And more times than not, it's only going to improve things. It's only going to help you show up better in your career or whatever else that you're doing when you have more energy, when you are more confident. You're just bringing a lot more to the table, and you're not run down. You're not completely burnt out every single day kind of going into it, because you're giving yourself a little bit enough to recharge so you can come back and
Hmm.
cast the next day. So again, it's not about eliminating any of those things. It's not about quitting your job because it's difficult. It's just still prioritizing finding balance. And that might mean today's a 12-hour workday, but tomorrow you're going to be able to give some energy to yourself, and having that conversations with yourself or with your spouse or with your coach, on check-in day or whatever the case is. This week I had to give a lot of energy to one of my other pillars, to work, or maybe to my sick kids this week. So that took a hit when it came to my own fitness journey, whatever the case is. And hey, that's totally fine. Again, like some weeks you have to shift that balance towards something else. You have to shift that energy and focus something else. But then the next week, if that is no longer an issue, then let's re get our steps together. Let's re get our balance together and give energy into what we had to kind of neglect this last week. And that's ultimately what balance is as well. It doesn't mean day to day having to be balanced, but this week I gave energy to this. Next week I need to give a little more energy to something else in my life. You know what I mean? Just having those, being introspective, being reflective, which again comes back to the importance of check-in days. And we did it full circle.
Always check in.
Always.
Lauren, do you want to, you don't have to, do you want to share any ideas on your pillars? You can totally say no.
I think I agree with some of yours. Obviously, I don't have kids and I'm not married yet.
Almost.
um, almost. But I think one of my pillars too is my faith. And I like to make sure I start out the day reading my Bible. And so grounding myself in that first helps my mindset for the rest of the day. And I just think if I start to not do that, like my habits, if I wake up late or something, it really just throws me off. So I think we have
Yeah.
our pillars for a reason. They make us who we are, and we gotta stick to that.
Yeah,
I like
they
that.
they definitely keep you centered. And like you said, that's a pillar of yours. So then it's a matter, and that's going to also positively affect other things. For instance, if you need to get up early before your workday starts, whatever the case is, to make that happen, then ideally you're getting to bed on time as well. You're not
Hmm.
shutting off the TV at midnight so you can get up at 5 a.m. to do that. You're allowing yourself, and so those things will hopefully help, push the other dominoes in the right direction as well.
Having a strong pillar allows you to be well-rounded.
Yeah. That's great, Lauren. Thanks for the addition. All right. Well, I think we hit it.
I think it could, yeah, it just comes back to the where focus goes, energy flows.
Energy flows, exactly. So be aware of that energy. Start taking account of those things as well. And yeah, like I said, if you check in, you should be able to notice some of these things as well. But you should be having these little mental check-ins with yourself anyway. A big part of Thriving Lives is becoming, and a big part of the reason why we ask you to do those check-ins is so that throughout the rest of the weeks, you are becoming more mindful of all these things. That way you can recognize really, really quickly when you get out of balance, when you're putting energy into the wrong things, or maybe even the wrong people as well. Like the relationships you have, not necessarily like your significant other, but just friendships, you know what I mean? That could be zapping your energy. Co-working relationships that could be zapping your energy and things of that nature. Being aware of that stuff so that you're not going home weighed down at the end of the day because of this relationship or whatever the case is. But anyway, though, um, so challenge. We'll be talking about that. I'll be posting some stuff about it in the group later on tonight and throughout the rest of the next couple of days leading up to April 1st. And then, yeah, that's about it, though. Happy check-in day tomorrow. Um, I'll be also posting here soon the Zoom call schedule for next week or for next month. Next week's topic, though, I already know what it's going to be about. It's going to be called the reset, and it's going to be a dietary approach, lifestyle approach to help drastically reduce inflammation. And we will kind of dive into the nuts and bolts of what that kind of looks like next week. But aside from that, though, you guys have a great rest of your week, great weekend. Happy Easter, everybody. And we'll talk to you next week. Lauren, what's up?
I was just saying thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. See you guys.
Cool. Bye.
Hey,
Oh, what?
is that recording? I don't know if I stopped recording or not.
No, you did not. Still recording.
Okay, cool. I'll just cut off this last little bit. Oh, okay, I got it.